Tonight, our new student government will be chosen.
Plus, a cowboy pays a visit to the library. Stay tuned, Troy. Trojan Vision News starts now.
From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network, Troy, Alabama's International University. This is Troy Trojan Vision News.
Hello and welcome to Troy Trojan Vision News for February 24th, 2016. I'm Christy Henderson.
And I'm Haley Greathouse. Thank you for joining us this evening. Election Day is finally here, and students had the opportunity to place their vote for who they thought would best represent them in the Student Government Association. Samantha Charles has the details.
From multiple debates, speeches to campaigning, Troy University students came out to elect the new executive officers for the Student Government Association.
This year we had the TrojanVision debate, which has been shared all over Facebook, and then this year the Drop introduced a new event, which was a live debate, which was held this past Monday, and then we've also the different candidates have been going around to different organizations sharing their platform as well.
Students lined the halls of the Trojan Center to cast their ballots for who they thought was best fit for the following positions:
President, Vice President of Legislative Affairs, Vice President of Campus Activities, Director of Administration, and Director of Representation.
After months of campaigning, Election Day is finally here, and Troy students voiced their opinions and put their Trojan Spirit to action today in the SGA election.
It's important for students to come out to vote because pretty much it's like just telling us like that we are a part of this, and our voice counts on who we want to like help us do stuff with the school, like as homecoming, Greek week, even stuff for like football games and stuff.
It's our school and we make the choices and we elect people who are going to lead us, so we express our right to vote. So
the candidates elected will be sworn into office in a ceremony on April 12th. Samantha Charles, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We will have the results from today's election tomorrow on Troy Trojan Vision News.
On Wednesday, Troy students and faculty got the chance to discover the history of Troy and the Trojan culture by examining medieval literature. The Trojan Spirit came alive in Howe Hall with the help of a visiting English professor who, though traveling all the way from Poland, knows Troy all too well. Ryan Renfro has the details.
My research about Trojan literature makes more sense here than anywhere else.
Agulonian University professor of English Dr. Władysław Witarisz visited the campus of Troy University earlier this week to share his vision of Trojan literature and to propose student opportunities between Troy and Polish universities. But even though he comes from overseas, his ties to Troy University are stronger than you would expect.
My link with Dr. Harold Kahler at Troy University dates back to the 1980s. We have been working together on a number of student exchanges and other international projects. We also have been working on scholarly projects devoted to Boethius, and truly it was Dr. Kahler who encouraged me to look at the Trojan texts some 15 years ago.
After walking through these double doors, Troy students and faculty opened the gates of rediscovery, and with the help of Professor Witarisz, brought the Trojan Spirit to life and discovered what it truly means to be a Trojan.
People think of Trojans, they kind of have this idea of like the ideals we carry, the type of people we're going to be, and when we as students, we're at Troy University. People associate us with those Trojan ideals, whether or not they want to. So I think it's important to go back to that and think about how we can be brave and bold people that are leaders in the community and in the world, even in the little things.
Being a Trojan means being responsible. Being a Trojan means being heroic, but in a responsible manner.
Ryan Renfro, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Up next, the English department will offer a professional writing boot camp this Saturday on Troy's Montgomery campus.
Troy University's Campus Kitchens is known for giving out meals to the hungry in Pike County, but this week they're looking for the community to give back to them. Jordan Elston takes a look at their fundraising effort.
A week-long fundraising competition will help support Troy University's Campus Kitchen program, which feeds the needy in the local community.
We're doing our 100 Fighters Superhero Penny Wars contest, and it's part of our Raise the Dough campaign. So it goes to our Campus Kitchens program here on campus, which uses excess food from the dining facilities and reapportions that into meals that go out to families and children that are in need in our local community.
Aside from donating to a good cause, cause, there are other perks to donating to the Penny Wars.
What we have is a head-to-head Penny Wars competition. So the individual who raises the most money in their name will be a Hunter superhero and dress up as one on Wednesday, March 2nd, which is the same day as our Can Castle contest.
And if you want to donate to the Penny Wars, a table will be set up on the social quad.
We'll be here Monday through Friday this week from 11 to 2 collecting any change or dollar bills that folks want to donate to expand our storage and capacity efforts for Campus Kitchens.
For students that may not have any cash on hand, there is still an opportunity to get involved.
The secondary aspect of this is called Raise the Dough, which is an online campaign. So if you don't have change or you're by your computer and want to donate, you can go to tinyurl.com/TroyCK and you can make a donation there.
If you are interested in other ways to get involved, you can stop by Eldridge 122. Jordan Elston, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
If you want to make a donation, there's still time. The Raise the Dough fundraiser ends on Friday. When many people think of cowboys, it usually brings up images of John Wayne riding a horse into the sunset.
However, there is a different side to the Old West that many people don't know about, and Troy's library brought that student attention with a special guest. Antonio Reese has the story.
A library isn't necessarily the place you would find a cowboy, but on Wednesday morning, one was in Troy's library, sharing knowledge about African Americans and their connection to the Wild West. The lecture was given by a retired history professor, formerly known as Mike Searles. However, he prefers to go by Cowboy Mike.
Yeah, I became Cowboy Mike when I started doing these presentations, I think, again, about maybe 30 years ago. Once I really discovered there were black cowboys, because up at that time I didn't realize there were black cowboys. And so that was a revelation to me.
Cowboy Mike hopes this demonstration will help expand the perception of blacks in history.
I guess one of the things I really want to portray is that America is a varied place. And African Americans have played a very significant role in all aspects of American society. And I think for a lot of people, they see the participation of blacks essentially being one during the period of slavery or at various times, but not the full
A big part of Cowboy Mike's lecture dealt with the newfound independence of freed slaves and how things changed as they became cowboys.
If you leave the South, where you're under sort of surveillance, when you're in an agriculture community where they tell you when to get up, when to go to sleep, when to do this, when to do that, and when you go into the West, especially when you're, again, living a life like a cowboy, you suddenly have a certain degree of independence. It's required. The job requires independence. So when you get up in the morning, you go out, you get on your horse and you travel. You're no longer under anyone's supervision. You become an independent entity.
Antonio Reese, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Today's lecture was one of two given by Cowboy Mike. He spoke on Troy's Dothan campus last night.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. Storms that moved through Alabama knocked trees to homes and snapped power poles, leaving thousands without electricity. Officials in southeast Alabama said numerous homes and other buildings were damaged by an apparent tornado late yesterday, and additional damage occurred in other places.
The Alabama Secretary of State's office says 3 leading Republican presidential candidates will visit Alabama before next week's Super Tuesday primaries. Senators Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio are scheduled to speak at a forum Saturday in Birmingham. Donald Trump is scheduled to visit Huntsville on Sunday, his third campaign stop in the state this election cycle.
Some Alabama state senators are trying to start a commission to review innocence claims by convicted felons. The Senate Judiciary Committee will hold a public hearing on the bill Wednesday. The legislation, sponsored by Republican Senator Dick Brubaker of Pike Road, would also put a moratorium on executions until June 1st, 2017. Still to come on Troy, Trojan Vision News, the baseball team is in action tonight on its home field, looking to stay undefeated. Ryan Renfro will have more in sports.
Plus, will Michael Skakel be put back on trial? We'll have that story and more coming up.
Prosecutors try to send Kennedy cousin Michael Skakel back to jail for murder. I'm Marley Hall at Connecticut Supreme Court with the latest coming up.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy Trojan Vision News.
The women's track and field team finished up competition on Tuesday at the Sunbelt Indoor Championship. Led by sophomore Nyada Alexander's second place finish in the 400-meter dash and freshman Gemma Finch's runner-up performance in the pentathlon, the Trojans defeated 4 conference rivals for 7th place. Now, going back to last year at this same competition, the Trojans scored only 12 points. But this year, the Trojans increased that number by 30, boasting 42 points total, the most since 2009. Now, we have a lot of Trojan sports going on the next couple of days, and it all starts tonight. The Troy baseball team will take the field here shortly at 6 p.m. against the Blazers of UAB. Going back to last season, the Blazers visited Real Pace Field and defeated the Trojans 7-1. And this time around, head coach Mark Smart and his Trojans are ready to take the field.
They've given us fits the last number of years, and hopefully we'll come out and play a good brand of baseball and have a chance to beat a good in-state opponent.
The Trojans head into tonight's matchup with a perfect undefeated record, coming off 4 straight wins against Northern Kentucky. Now, before the baseball team can take the field here in Troy, the softball team threw the first pitch not too long ago in its first road game of the season. A matchup in Tuscaloosa against the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Trojans currently stand at a 7-3 record overall on the season and are coming off 3 wins over the weekend against Tennessee Tech and Eastern Illinois. And if 15 home games to start off the season wasn't already enough, you won't have to wait too long to see the Trojans back on their home turf. The Trojans will return to the Trojan softball complex this week for the Trojan Warrior tournament, taking on Dayton on Friday at 5 p.m. The Troy men's and women's basketball teams return home this week to welcome Louisiana Lafayette to Trojan Arena on Thursday and Louisiana Monroe on Friday. Now, starting off with the men's team, the Trojans entered this weekend's matchups with an overall 9-18 record and a 4-12 record in conference play. Head coach Phil Cunningham acknowledges the talent in both Louisiana teams, but says his Trojan team is playing better than what the record may show.
They're winnable games for us. We're playing well. You know, we won 2 of our last 3. We've won, 3 of our last 5. So we're playing probably as good as we have all season, except for maybe right at the end of the preseason schedule. So we've got some confidence. Saturday was a setback, but we've got to bounce back, and it's a great opportunity to take a step forward here at the end of the season.
The men's game will tip off at 7:30 p.m. And before the men's team takes the court, the women's team will look to improve on its 13-12 record with the matchup against Louisiana Lafayette. The Trojans lost to Lafayette in Louisiana back in January by a final score of 56-53, but Troy assistant coach Courtney Simmons says the matchup goes back to last season.
It's kind of a redemption game. That's the team that beat us in the first round of the conference tournament. We were a 3 seed last year. They were a 6 seed. Right now they're a 3 seed and we're a 6 seed. So that could be a potential first round matchup for us in the conference tournament. But again, Thursday's game is going to be great. 2 well-coached teams, two high-energized teams. It's going to be a great game.
Game time for Thursday's game is set for 5:15 p.m.